Hello and welcome to The Rings. My name is Matt Hickey. I'm joined by Russell Lee. We are here for Game 2 of the Ringwood Hawks versus the McKinnon Cougars semi-final series. The winner of this, of course, will go into the grand final series to play either Hawthorn or Eltham. And as I mentioned earlier, I am joined by Russell Lee.
How are you, Hickey?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Ready for a big game.
It's a little bit chilly here on your Saturday night, but if Game 1 is anything to go by, we look set to be in for a massive one, that's for sure. You were there, Game 1.
I was.
What did you take in?
It was an absolutely epic battle. Both teams having players stand up to be noticed. For McKinnon, Tamada 1 assist shy. I think we were talking just before of a triple-double. His ability to push the floor, find his teammates, attack the rim was just second to none. Sydney Kings development player Dang Dang started the game electrically and finished the game really solid as well. Platenik, positive contribution. Power forward that's been in the league for a very, very long time. They'll be looking for Stiff to really get going tonight, who was a little bit quieter in Game 1. For the Hawks, it was all about Fennell. Massive double-double, 33 points. Fishing out 5 dimes also. Jacob Gibson was great down the stretch. I think amassing 24 points. Scotty Stone, 18 also. And Shawnee Clark doing what he does, not only in the paint, but even knocking down triples. So
yeah, an incredibly high-scoring affair there, 100 to 95. And you mentioned Dang Dang. He's been playing some really good minutes for the Sydney Kings in the pre-season. You've seen him play against a couple of the different college teams. He's been very impressive, so he will be the go-to man, you think, for McKinnon. We were here earlier in the year for a regular season game, and without him, McKinnon really struggled. They just could not answer Ringwood in any form, and the Hawks blew that one out. There was no doubt about that, but Game 1 was a different story, although a same and / similar result in the end, with the Hawks getting up. On another note, it could be Jermaine Maybank's last game. He announced that he will be retiring from playing and moving into a coaching role. So at the end of the season, he will retire. So if Ringwood can get a win here on their home floor, which I think many are expecting that they will, it will be the end to a pretty illustrious career in the Big V, playing career that is, for Jermaine Maybank.
True, he had a solid game one down at McKinnon with season averages, probably a little bit more humble than what they'd expect. 20.7 rebounds, 7 dimes and 4 steals. He really lit it up, especially in the absence of Stiff in that one.
Yeah, filled the stat sheet up, and it was interesting because that game I mentioned earlier that we were at earlier in the season, he just could not buy a basket. Could have almost built a house with the bricks that he was throwing up, but come finals time, the clutch players tend to step up. We'll see if he can get his side over the line tonight. About a minute away from tip-off. It's hard to find a seat in here already. You can see behind the McKinnon bench on the left of your screens there that they are building in support behind the bench, so no doubt they will be looking to get their team over the line, but you'd expect that it's probably a Ringwood heavy crowd. Russell, as I always do, and I think I can already guess what way you're going to lean. I'm going to get you to give me a tip for this game and whether you think it's going to go to 3, which I don't think it is, and I don't think you think it will either.
Look, I'm going to surprise you and throw out there that I think Ringwood's going to win, and it's going to be finished tonight.
What?
I'd go still by single digits. I think McKinnon have got plenty of firepower and will dig very, very deep. But Ringwood are fairly unbeatable on their home floor, in front of a home crowd, and there are just too many weapons, both in the starting lineup and coming off the bench. I just think the depth of the Hawks will overcome the starting lineup spectacular that the McKinnon Cougars put forward.
Yeah, McKinnon have to get away to a good start. If they don't get away to a good start, they're going to be in trouble. Hawks will get their tail up, and you know when they get their tail up and start shooting that 3 ball, they can blow teams out in a flash.
We've got a starting lineup here for the Hawks already. We've talked about him from last week, Matty Fennell. We've got Gibson, Clark, Snowy, and of course our other import, Scotty Stone, in the green.
For McKinnon, it looks like Platnick's out there, Tamata's out there, Maybank, Stiff, and of course Deng Deng. That is a scary, athletic and long lineup. Interestingly, it will be interesting to see the matchups and just what goes down. See the matchup, it's probably going to be Stiff and Clark, you'd expect, because it's all Platnick and Clark, but the battle down low will be interesting.
No doubt, especially because bigs on both sides can really stretch the floor. Deng Deng we saw knock down a number of triples last week. We know Stiff is capable. Interesting fact that Sean is one of the leading 3-point shooters on the Ringwood Hawks team, despite starting at the 5 spot also.
So there we go, Clark immediately to Platnick, so that answered that question very early on. So McKinnon win the tip, and they'll look to get things underway here. There's Tamata, Platnick, Maybank, little hesitation, and that was out of bounds. And it'll be Ringwood ball, and no surprise, Matt Snowball looking to get on with it quickly.
Snowy coming up now, commence the first Hawks offensive touch for the game.
Sagging right off him, as we see plenty of teams do, the handoff to Gibson. Got a hack in there, and no surprise that was a foul. He got sandwiched between 2 Cougars players. Already Justin Nelson, coach of the Cougars, and BigV personality, just quizzing the referees on that call.
Yeah, early foul there for Tamata. He's got to make sure that he looks after himself on the floor, because between him and Maybank, I don't think they really want anyone else handling a rock.
Big mismatch down low, kick to the corner. Snowball didn't want that, and it was out of bounds. He stood on the line. So Snowball again, not wanting to shoot that open 3. There will come a stage in the game where he will let it fly, but early on he wants to get his teammates involved. He's just that kind of player.
Ken Harrington from the Hawks bench signalling to Snowy to shoot the ball. So obviously has the confidence.
He's Stiff at the top of the key. Hard left-hand drive on Fennell. Probably a stiff foul call. He was moving a little bit, but it was an aggressive move from Stiff, and the referees awarded him for it.
Nice 4 under the chops there for Fennell. That'll wake him up, and I don't think that's what the McKinnon Cougars want.
So Stiff makes the first, and finally we are underway here on the scoreboard. Interestingly, Matt Fennell ended up with 4 personal fouls in Game 1, so that's an early one inside the first minute of Game 2. No doubt the coaching staff for Ringwood will be keeping a close eye on that one. Once again, giving him plenty of room there.
Stiff makes the second. Hawks down the other end, sagging off Snowball, and again to no avail. Deng with the rebound, he's pushed the ball up. Stiff, mid-range jumper, unsuccessful. Fennell with the rebound, but Flakenik knocks it out of bounds. Hawks ball.
Snowball has to look to shoot that and does have to let it fly when he gets wide open, or else you're just playing into the Cougars' hands.
There's no doubt he can hit it. I think he prefers to be in rhythm rather than a spot-up shooter, but we've been around a long time to see him nail plenty of threes. Great drive there by Fennell. Kept alive by Sean Clark. Up in the air. Deng, though. That length.
Too long, too athletic. Tomato for 3 in transition. You betcha. And it's a good start here for McKinnon. We spoke about it earlier that they needed to get away to a fly, and they did. Fennell, he's probably had 2 open 3-point looks, has decided to go against both of them. And there's a foul. That'll be on Maybank. So a good start here for McKinnon, and just slow out of the blocks here, Ringwood. Just need to wake up early here. Almost 2 minutes played there yet to get on the scoreboard.
Maybank not happy with that foul, talking to both referees. Now a bit of pushing and shoving off the ball.
Deng could probably apply for a Logie if we want to look back on the tape on that one. And once again, no doubt they'll be looking to take the charge here. Clark, double teamed, flicks over to Fennell. He shoots the 3, buries it, and the foul was always coming. The foul was always coming. The 3 has to count. You can't take the points away. Yep, they do count, and the foul was on Sean Clark. And that is going to be an interesting battle inside. I tell you what, if it gets to push and shove, I know who I'm backing in that one.
Yeah, have a look at it again. Stiff call. Sean Clark has a hell of a lot more strength than Deng. And I agree. He was trying to get the referee's attention an awful lot in that matchup.
So an away pick. Now looking to get Deng in the low block. It comes to Platnik high. Doesn't even look at the basket. There's Tomato. Quick first step to his left.
Great double
Probably
team.
could have looked to the basket there. He don't think he quite realised that he had both the Ringwood players on his backside, and he had the basket wide open in front of him. Decided to try and pass it out, but he travelled, and so it'll be Ringwood ball.
I like that double team by the Hawks. Way too big for Tomato there to pass out of it. Fennell lining up for another triple. Back to back from him.
Having trained against that man, I don't think McKinnon have read the scouting report as Maybank goes quickly for 2 and he gives a stare down to the Ringwood bench. But Matty Fennell can knock that 3 ball down at will. Here's Sean Clark. We spoke about him shooting the 3 but couldn't get it to go. McKinnon have to close out on Fennell. He can bury that at will. Deng with the pull-up. Momentum, no. Stiff tried to get it, but he was out of bounds. I think. No, it's a foul. It's a push.
Called a foul, personal foul on Jacob Gibson as Stiff has gone to try and keep the ball in bounds. Very stiff. Jacob's not going to complain. He's not that sort of player, but doesn't look too happy with it.
I'm avoiding stiff and stiff puns, but anyways, here's Maybank, and he buries 2 and then steps over / kicks Matty Snowball in the groin.
Bit of Alan Iverson, Turunlu.
And
remnants there, you reckon?
Very much so. I have to agree with you there. Snowball inside the paint. He goes up, couldn't get it. Sean Clark too big. He's getting quadruple teamed under there. Gets his own rebound again. Couldn't get it to go. And then it'll end up with Maybank. Every basket Jermaine Maybank has made so far, he stares directly down at the Ringwood bench, and that's a turnover. Stiff couldn't get a handle on it down low, and Ringwood will come away with it.
Snowball just chatting with the referee around that last drive by Maybank, feeling like that he threw an elbow right into his jaw.
Safe to say there's a little bit of feeling in this one, Russell.
You'd like to think that would be the case where the winner is having a grand final berth.
And there's that strength that we spoke about. Just too easily in the low block, Sean Clark gets the nice little lob pass in the low post seal. Deng helpless down there, and Sean Clark finishes for 2 and cuts the lead down to 1.
Bit of a double high screen action here for the Cougars. Stiff and Platnik with Maybank. Stiff now 1-on-1, taking Fennell into the paint. Nice bank shot, elevating high over Fennell. Just got a little bit more length on Fennell, but the strength from both players will be a good matchup.
Has to be active if McKinnon are going to win. Dylan Stith. Oh, they almost didn't close him out again. Smart play from Fennell. Snowball will go 3. No, passes to Clark. Step back, decides against it now for now. They're inside single digits on the shot clock. Looking to go to work. Good pass to Gibson. He was active. Someone's got to shoot it. It was an interesting... We'll call it a pass. We'll call it a pass. And there was a push afterwards as well. There is some serious feeling out here. Sean Clark hopefully not hurt. He's taking a little while to get up. And he looks hurt. This is a little bit worrying. A couple of okay steps there. Might have just gone over on his ankle by the looks of things. But Matt Snowball, don't think he realised there was still 4 seconds on the shot clock. Throws it over his head off the backboard. And of course, only he could somehow find a teammate when it was a shot. And it'll be an and one play here for Sean Clark.
I think the key question here, is that a shot or an assist?
As a player, you've got to call that an assist every day of the week.
Completely agree. Let's hope Shawnee Clark nails that and can shake this off.
I'm not sure if the statisticians would agree with me, but...
look, we'll ask Brian a bit later. Maybe we can look after Snowy. Maybank now low post against Snowball.
Nice spin and a clear
little pushing foul.
And Maybank goes down clutching the head. Not sure if you realise that the World Cup was last month, but anyways. Seems to be fine now. Miraculous recovery.
It's like Maybank's taken an awful lot of confidence from the last game into this one, being really aggressive offensively. Yet now at the line.
And I tell you what, I think there is one of the officials is just itching for Matt Snowball to say the wrong thing again, and there might be a T or a few in this game as Maybank makes both. And I think that's a warning. There we go. So no surprises there. He's been itching to do it, and he throws the warning out. Another one, and he'll get a technical. Well, sometimes it's another one. Maybe it's another 3 or 4. And there it is.
I don't think that was on Snow, though, Hickey.
It's on the bench.
Coach Ken Harrington asking question to the referee. The referee giving him nothing and simply texts him.
That is arguably my quickest crystal ball moment there.
Oh, look, I think your insight into this game is exceptional. Hickey, is that what you want to hear?
It's exactly what I want to hear. So now Sean Clark asking the question, and this is where players can get a little bit fed up. And I understand with a referee, they don't deserve to cop the abuse that they cop from players sometimes, but if a referee's not even going to dignify the play with an answer or just to speak to him, and there's a flopping warning on Jermaine Maybank, that's when players get a little bit upset. But anyways, we'll move on, and it'll be McKinnon ball, low block. Maybank rises up. That was always short. Clark with the rebound.
Making a point for him to go at Snowball, but didn't work for them that time.
Wanted to travel, didn't get it. Snowball still with the ball. He's got to give it off. Stone 3 ball. Looked good, but just a little bit short. Hit front rim. He's quick and scary in transition. Big right hand crossover. There's the foul. Deng immediately placing the ball on the ground, and already in the bonus after just 5 minutes and 8 seconds.
So the referee just following up on that flop warning. Now Justin Nelson not happy with that, feeling like it was actually Sean Clark that bumped him to the floor.
I think we're set for an interesting night, folks. Just as a heads up, this could get very, very interesting as we go on.
So that personal foul, Scotty Stone, as Deng was taking his steps for that monstrous layup that could have eventuated, misses the first free throw and the second. Stiff with the O board, goes up, unable to connect. Another offensive rebound here, Tamata with it. Platenick flying through the key, able to hit the floater.
He's been a bit quiet, but he pops up when he needs to. So Ringwood got to be careful now. They are in the bonus. Any time they foul, McKinnon will go to the line like we saw last time. Maybank with a hand in there, could have been a foul. This is a mismatch. Gibson goes for it, gives up his dribble. Osborne, he's a knockdown shooter, couldn't get it to go, and there's just a bit of a lit on the rim at the moment for Ringwood, but they still only trail by 4. Great pass from Dean. Platnick, you know he'll want to go to that spinning jump shot. They wanted a foul. I don't think it was there. And here's Fennell in transition. Excellent. Osborne decided against it this time. Flick over to Gibson. Wide open 3. Surely, no. Now the ball. Gibson, brilliant. They wanted to push out. Deng with the little ball fake. Couldn't get it to go. And back and forth we go again.
Great running back there by Gibson to prevent Deng from catching that full court pass. And then Trevor Latham busting his backside down the centre of the floor to ensure the defensive rebound on the Deng miss. Jacob Gibson now with the offensive rebound.
And they've counted the points.
Latham standing right under the rim. Sorry, Hickey.
They've counted the points. It'll be N1. Platnick wanted the offensive foul. And it is going to be a tough night for the officials. As in steps Benji Tamir. And Platnick will take a break. In saying that, normally if Platnick's complaining or isn't happy with the call, you'd go with what he says because he's very placid on the court normally and doesn't have a problem with too much out there.
Yeah, no, very true. Good call, Hickey. Back from his Waverley days through to now playing for McKinnon. He's a veteran of the league, knows this game back to front, and you're absolutely right with his experience. You take notice when he is displeased with an official's call.
So there's Tamir. Over to Deng now. Now Maybank. Gets an on-ball pick. Tamata. Jeez, he's quick on that left hand. And they've called the foul and it'll be bonus. So that's a costly foul for the Hawks. They were looking to get some momentum. But it'll be 2 free throws to Adi Tamata. And the substitution now, the veteran Nathan Truman on. It'll be Jacob Gibson off, I think, as that is his second personal foul, so one to keep an eye on for the fans at home.
For sure. Very tough call there made by the referee. A lot of players to see through to make that call, but seemed fairly adamant that that's what he saw. Remained steadfast as Jacob Gibson asked the question. Tamata at the line, he's made his first and his second. 14-17 in favour of the Cougars.
Just get the feeling that this one, we might get some free basketball at the end of this one. Just a little inkling that we might be heading to overtime, but it is very early days as for now, once again, like in game 1, has his way with the defence, glides in for 2. Very few players in the league finish better around the rim than him. Not great defence from Nathan Truman. Maybank really confident and banks one in. Oh no, you cannot celebrate after you've just banked in a 3. Oh no. You cannot be doing that, Russell.
He's even chatting to the Ringwood Hawks crowd here. He definitely rates himself, there's no doubt about that, and I think in a game like this, heading into a grand final berth, you've got to be that confident.
Trevor Latham too strong, nice little post hook, he's got a lovely touch underneath the hoop. But hey, if he meant it, all credit to him if he meant the bank shot. And now Platnick will come back on, and they take Stith out. And I think Justin Nelson saw how easy Trevor Latham got inside for that post hook while Stith was defending him. So he takes Stith out of the game and brings in Platnick.
Truman now controlling the point for the Hawks, guarded by Tamata. Hawks getting through their set here, looking to go with Truman again. However, not a great pass, you're right. Turnover for the Hawks. Not a lot of top of the key sort of action there. It was all focused around supplying the ball to Big Latham down to the low post. When that didn't eventuate, there wasn't a lot on.
So now into a zone. Yeah, a zone for Ringwood, so this is interesting. They've gone into a 2-3 to be a little matchup, and that was easy for Teng. And he shakes his head as if it's to say it's a little bit too easy, but his team's only up by 4 with 2 minutes left in the first. Here's Truman. Now he goes to Latham, so this is the matchup that they want. Easy for Trevor Latham. So 4 points, and he has been good early here, and that is a key thing when Sean Clark's having a rest to get Trev Latham on the floor. He's already equaled the amount of points he scored in game 1 in about 3 minutes here in game 2.
Yeah, good call. You know, as good a player as...
Ooh, that was close to our backcourt.
Very, very close.
Loose ball. It's Tamir that comes up with it. And the shot clock will already set to 14. Good hands from Scotty Stone. And substitutions.
Good save of the referee there between them both to make sure they don't go flying into the crowd. But as we were saying, as good a player as Blatant is, Trevor Latham just has too much strength one-on-one in the post for that to be defended. Tamata now controlling again. Only 6 left on the clock. Unable to make that layup. Tamir on the baseline and
2 free throws. So
silly personal.
It's a coach killer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You know all too well, Russell.
Absolutely. You wouldn't be known for those though, Hickey.
No,
okay. Maybe some of your teammates. But yeah, since Trevor Latham...
Too savvy for that, Russell.
Of course. Trevor Latham to the line, 2 free throws, 5 fouls apiece. So both teams in the bonus now, 2 points in it. Ringwood 20, McKinnon 22. As Latham knocks down the first. Again, Hickey, you made mention of it. He's been good early. If he's firing and Sean Clark are firing in that 5 spot with the strength and the length they have, Hawks will be on song.
He's already scored more points than he did in Game 1. Trevor Latham up to 6, only had 4 in Game 1. And the Hawks into that 2-3 zone.
All tied up now, 1 minute, 5 seconds remaining in the first period. Tamir corner triple, unable to connect. Great rebound there by Snowball.
Ton of foul call.
Yeah, Tamata not happy with it, but I think that's exactly what we saw. Maybe unlucky, but he did just step under Snowball as he was pulling that rebound down, and the referees have given a warning now.
And it's his second personal, so he'll go to the bench. In comes Neil Muller, but yeah, a warning. And the ref's looking just to get a grasp back on this game and not let it get out of hand too early here. A snowball to the line. And that's important for him to see the ball go through the hoop after a couple of misses from deep and not a great start shooting the ball. As always, he's great as the floor general. And he makes the second as well. So Ringwood, would you believe it, despite struggling here in the first quarter, are up by 2 points inside a minute to play here in the opener. Dang loses the ball, steps back out. He looks like he wants to do it all himself. It's a bit of a loose handle. Dang, sidestep, triple. Thanks for coming. A bit of James Harden about it. Sidestep, pull up, and he goes bang in the corner.
Right over Trevor Latham. There's not much more you could have done to defend that. Great penetration there by Snowball. And a kick out over his head, finding an open Fennell, I think now for his 3rd triple of the game.
The guy had 33 points in Game 1. You think you might just play a little bit of defense on him, but anyways. So shot for shot, and we look set for another high-scoring affair here. Here's Muller, down low, dang, and he's everywhere. That was too easy. Tied ball game, 5 seconds. What can Snowball do? He'll want Fennell again. He's got the hot hand. 1 second, lets it go, and back rim, it looked good. Nathan Truman wanted it in the corner, but when you're hot, you're hot. So there you have it. Everything you would have wanted in a first quarter of a Game 2 of a final series. It's 27 apiece. There were fouls, there were 3-point bombs, there was a bit of angst, there was a bit of push and shove. It's game on here at the Rings, Russell.
It absolutely is. 27 apiece. The stats are just updating for us, so give it a moment. But we've seen both teams come to play. I know it's not something we do enough, but I have to give credit to the officials for the way they've handled themselves and this game in the first period. Player warnings have been given, a tech to the Ringwood bench, flop warnings. They have done an incredible job just reeling these players and staff back in to focus on the game at hand. Let's hope that continues for the next 3.
Yeah, very much so. It looked early like we could be into fisticuffs inside the first quarter, which is never a good sign, but the refs did a very good job, and they didn't take any of the bull that was being dished up by both teams, admittedly, and reeled it back in a little bit. Interestingly, just keeping an eye on Sean Clark, who looks to be stretching out his foot. I'm not quite sure. I think he went over his ankle in that little contest that he had down low. He looks to be okay as he's just trying to move around and loosen himself up, probably trying to stay warm while sitting on the bench. But Russell, I believe you've got some stats for us.
We do now. We've got a bit of an update. So for the Hawks, Matty Fennell, as we talked about, that 3-ball really working for him. 3 of 5 from deep. He's got 9 points and a rebound. Matthew Snowball. He's added those 2 from the line late in that first period. He also has 3 assists. Rounding out for the Hawks, we've got Sean Clark with 5, Trev Latham off the bench with 8, and Jacob Gibson with 3. For the Cougars, their starters, we know the damage they can do. We have Maybank with 9, getting hot early. Deng played that first full period, 7 points and 5 rebounds, rounding it out. Platenic with 2, Stiff with 4, Tamata with 5. We're back into the second. Hawks ball. Wayward pass by Snowball. Truman chases it down. 14 left on the clock. Sean Clark isolated in the post. Double team comes. Hasn't found anyone yet. He finally does. Snowball, top of the key. Lets it go. Unable to connect. Matty Fennell fighting for that O-board that throws it away. Benji Tamir.
Tamir stretching out his shoulder. May have just twinged something there. So Snowball again being left open on that perimeter and back into this zone. They watching Tamir. He is a shooter. He's Laycock. Good closeout. Pull-up jumper. No good, and Snowball was good enough to get the rebound over Tamir.
Snowy reloading for the Hawks. Sag right off Sean Clark. Great up fake, going straight into the paint. Double teaming him again. Taking on Platenic. Flattened him and made the double.
And Platenic grabbing his nose. He got hit pretty flush there. But no complaints from him to the referee on the way pass.
No, it looked pretty good and clean there by Sean Clark. I mean, it's going to happen when you go up against someone that big, that strong in the low post. Mid-range jump shot from Muller, I think it was. Nothing but air.
Platenic couldn't get it to go more. He just does the little things really well. We saw it earlier in the year when we call one of their games. He just provides some hustle plays and some key minutes off the bench for the Cougars.
Agreed. Out-rebounding Sean Clark on that occasion. Great handoff there by Snowball to Clark, but unable to finish at the rim this time. 2 shots to come. Foul, I'm assuming, on Platenic. Am I assuming correctly there, Hickey?
Shrug of the shoulders from him, I believe it was. So he's Maybank in, out goes Nick Laycock.
Platenick's second foul. Keep an eye on that. They'll want the Cougars will want him to stay in the game for as long as possible, but no doubt they'll be itching to get Deng back in ASAP also.
The first is good for Sean Clark. He's been good early in this one, no doubt about that. Second one is out. Muller with the rebound, and it'll go against Platenic. So there you go. 2 quick ones there as the foul on the rebound is called on Platenic.
They've just called it on Stiff. I'm sorry, Hickey.
Stiff, I apologise.
Platenic absolutely thought it was on him, and the reaction, I both thought it, but just watching the referee signal there, it was on Stiff. Unless I'm mistaken. No, Stiff's second personal. That would have been Platenic's third. So safe there, but to have Stiff and Platenic on 2 apiece.
And Tamata, I believe, as well.
Correct. Dangerous times.
Just got to love Matty Fennell, that hustle there. 1 on 3 on the rebound. And he somehow manages to win the ball for his team, albeit through a foul. Snowball liking that matchup, but Tamir was very long, and it'll be out of bounds, blocked, and it'll be Ringwood ball. Tamir got some length that you don't notice in a team that is so long, as we see a substitution. Not yet, Scotty Stone looking to come in. Great pass. Fennell probably could have gone straight up. Will got fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Maybank not happy, again talking to the referee, but I don't know what was wrong with that. It was clear as day. So Fennell to the line, Ringwood Hawks 30-29, lead by 1. 3 fouls to zip. Less than 2 minutes played in this third period, so I'd expect the free throw count to rise and play a huge part in this second period. No doubt a focus for the Hawks coaching staff to emphasise that low post entry and keep racking those fouls up against the Cougars, as Fennell makes both. Now 3-point deficit for the Cougars. Tamata checks back in, Tamir out. Starting lineup besides Platenic for Mueller out there for the Cougars.
So we've played just tick under 2 minutes here in this second quarter. It's a 3-point lead to the Ringwood Hawks, and they still stay in this zone. Tamata happy to launch the three, couldn't get it to go. Fennell comes down with a strong rebound. And now Matt Snowball. Oh, he dishes it back to Fennell, and it'll be Fennell who initiates the offense. Big, hard screen from Sean Clark. And he goes bang! Matty Fennell, his 4-3 of the night. He got freed up by a huge pick from Sean Clark. And all of a sudden, Ringwood are out by 6 points.
Great mid-range jumper there on the elbow by Deng. Quick transition bucket. You've got to hate that as a basketball player when your teammates aren't talking to you about a potential pick. Muller got cleaned up by Clark. And that's not, it wasn't a legal screen by no means. It was just poor communication from his teammates. As Snowball, open layup, shanks it. And Muller with the rebound. Maybank now, attacking the rim hard. Throws it over to Stiff. Deflected. Scotty Stone now streaming up. Hands it off to Clark. Loose ball. Clark, no. Unable to finish at the rim.
Matty Snowball, I don't think he thought he was going to get that wide open, and it'll be a foul and 2 shots to Deng Deng. Going back a couple of plays, I don't think Snowy thought he was going to be that wide open when he got to the ring, and he's just had a little bit of a tough time putting the ball in the basket. I think there's going to be a timeout on the floor, maybe. Harrington and Nelson looking at each other. No. A little bit of cat and mouse between the coaches there as the first is missed. Justin Nelson thought Ken Harrington was going to call a timeout, was getting the chair ready to talk to his troops, and then Kenny said, no, I don't want it. Misses both, and Moore again almost sneaks through for the offensive rebound.
It's the last 4 free throws missed by the Cougars, or thereabouts. That will be painful.
Oh,
Fennell, not a great one. Great keep in there by Stone, but it was to the hands of Deng. That same mid-range jumper, but a brick.
Absolute brick. Couldn't have said it better myself there, Russell. Snowball, great awareness. And then a better awareness. Can they finally get something? McKinnon's actually defended that pretty well. Here's Fennell, open for 3 again. This time, bit on the out fake. Snowball, free throw jumper. As casual as you like, he cannot buy a basket. But on the finish was Matty Fennell, and he says, let's go. As a timeout is called, he's amped up, and he is dominating just like he did in game 1. And it is Ringwood that have a 37-31 lead.
Yeah, good call there, Hickey. I'm just watching both benches. And McKinnon, heads down, not happy with the way things are going. I love what Sean Clark just did. He ran straight over to Snowball, put his arm around him and said, shoot the ball, shoot the ball. His teammates have utmost confidence in him. I know he's the playmaker and he'll find all the blokes on his team anywhere on the floor at any time, but it's great to see a guy worried about that mid-range jumper or even that triple, his teammates rallying around.
And Ken Harrington and Damien Smith went and did the exact same thing. Didn't even bother going to their team early in the timeout. Went straight to Snowy and just said, mate, relax, you've got this. We know how good you are and we know you can put the ball in the basket.
Love that as a coach. Absolutely love it.
Indeed, indeed. So 6:21 to play in the first half. It is Ringwood up 37-31. Across town, of course, the Hawthorn Eltham game is just about to get underway. So while that progresses, we'll be keeping you up to date on everything that happens there.
Double-double watch here. Deng Deng now with 9.7 rebounds. Maybank with 9 also for the Cougars. For the Hawks, it is Fennell, 18 points. 4 from 7 from deep. 6 rebounds. He is having a monster. 6 minutes remaining in this second period. 18 points, I should say, already.
Could be on for a 50 piece if he keeps going at this rate. Here's Platnick. He's had a tough time of it as there's a bit of an alarm going off that finally gets turned off. I think somebody was stepping in the emergency door. Anyways, here's Snowball. Truman was there. They finally got it to him. Great pass. Sean Clark couldn't finish. Maybe could have gone on the reverse side. Anyway, here comes Deng Deng. Little dump off pass to Maybank. Will he bank this one in? No, he doesn't. Here's Sean Clark, and away he goes for now. They give him the ball because he's just that confident at the moment.
Deng's gone to him and sticking with him fairly closely. Double team low post Sean Clark. Matt Snowball.
There you go. And the bench and the crowd absolutely love it.
We just talked about it. Getting around Snowy, making him, or requesting, encouraging him to shoot the ball, and he is rewarded with the faith of his teammates. 9-point deficit now. Hawks gone back into a bit of a man. Stiff unable to connect on that low post. Got the offensive rebound, knocked loose. Snowy with it, Snowy with it.
He was in the key for a long time as well. Legs were flying, arms were flying everywhere. Truman, great take, and he finishes with the layup. And another timeout for Justin Nelson, because this one's getting out of hand. It's 42-31. And going back to that snowball three, you mentioned it earlier in the game, he prefers to be a spot-up shooter in rhythm rather than coming off the dribble. And that one gave it in, got it back out, set his feet with the catch, and he buried the three. So a great call from you there, Russell, identifying the way he likes to catch and shoot the ball.
And a good time out there by Nelson to stop the run of the Hawks. The crowd getting behind them now, and rather than letting the players sit down, he's talking them in a huddle too, which I don't mind. Keep that adrenaline pumping, motivate, and hopefully he's got his leaders in there communicating about digging deep and making sure they just close the deficit heading into half-time.
I think the big thing in that little section of the play between the timeouts was that Snowy three, and not just because it was a big three-point play and it puts them up, they're up by 11 now. It's the fact that the crowd and his teammates absolutely loved it. They'll be up and about now. They see their leader doing stuff like that and growing in confidence. They'll follow him in, and all of a sudden, this game could get out of hand if McKinnon don't reel it back in.
Agreed. Starters back in for McKinnon as they were before that break. We can say the same almost for the Hawks. Truman in for Gibson, who's got those 2 fouls. 5 minutes, 4 seconds remaining in the second period. Hawks lead by 11, 42-31.
Bit of a master stroke from the Ringwood coaching staff here, going to this zone. It has thrown McKinnon out of whack. Maybank, Platnick, he buries it. And he does something that Stiff was struggling to do, and that's finish inside against defense. Here's Truman. He must have thought about the three. He does shoot it. The hesitation probably cost him, and not a shot that Kenny would probably love. But Truman's a confidence player, and he had that slicing layup earlier, so he was more than happy to let that thing go.
Very, very true. Would have been nice to see it get through a few more hands first, but we know how streaky he can be. No doubt a premier three-point shooter in the league. As Tamada nails one over the top of Truman.
And he liked it. He liked it. Gave a little come on, and snowball again. No, decides to go. And the double will come. Great move, but he couldn't finish, Sean Clark. Platnick again with his hands up in the air. He's just...
And it's on Platnick. That'll be his third. Not happy with that.
In a state of shookness.
Shookness.
He's just forever shook, that man, Ivan Platnick, tonight.
Platnick takes a seat.
So this to push it back out to 7 and or 8 points.
Wilson's checked in. Clark at the line for 2.
Wilson's first minutes, and he is a hard-nosed, barrel-chested big boy is the best way I'm going to put it.
Yeah, very
Without
fair.
sounding too much like Brian Taylor, that's how I would explain him. He with the big long beard and the man bun as well.
Look, I'd rate you at the sort of level that BT is, Hickey.
Is that a compliment?
Yeah, it is. It is. I think he's a great commentator, and you're in that realm, no doubt about it.
Sadly, we've got a game to get back to. We could just keep talking about that, but anyways, we'll get back to the action as McKinnon have the ball. They trail by 8, 4 minutes to go. Stiff, that is a deep three. And Scotty Stone, he's been fairly quiet, but he comes through with the board there and picks up the stat.
He won't remain quiet. Truman now handling the ball point. Guarded by Deng. Interesting matchup there. Clark, high rise out of the key. Now taking on... falling away, taking on Jack Wilson, who's just checked in. Tamada out of that's a tough call there for the Hawks. Saved by the referee. Personal foul, Truman. Blocking foul. Clark taking a rest now for Latham, who checks back into the game.
Substitution also looking like it's going to come for McKinnon. That'll be, I think, Tom Parkinson. Yes, he'll be stepping in. Osborne in for Truman. It was one of those foul calls where I think if he got the pass out and it wasn't a turnover, they're going to let the play continue. But he turned the ball over, and so it was a bit of a late call, which tends to frustrate players, no matter if it's the most blatant of fouls, because they think they may have gotten away with it. But anyways, 12 seconds on the shot clock. Maybank, he's been confident. Has been loving pulling up for a jump shot. That was the right idea. The back cut was probably there, but the pass just a little too strong, and it's out of bounds, and away come Ringwood now.
Just over 3 minutes to go in the second period. Low post action here. They're looking to go to Latham. He's being held.
Tough task for Tom Parkinson stepping in for his first minutes, trying to get a hold on that monster, but that hurts Nelson because he's given away a foul, probably an unnecessary one, but it'll mean 2 free throws because they are in the bonus.
The foul count for the Cougars just keeps climbing. Still 3 minutes to play, and every time there's that personal foul called, as Latham makes the first, take the lead back to 9, they're heading the charity stripe.
So a quick score check over in that Eltham-Hawthorn game. Of course, Hawthorn leading that series 1-0. The winners of these 2 series set to play each other in the grand final. It's halfway through the first, and it's 10-10, so a very even start over there at Eltham High School.
McKinnon reloading now as Latham missed that second free throw. Tamata attacking 4 players. Stephen Osborne with the sticky hands takes it from him. Scotty Stone in transition on a great pass for Fennell for an easy 2, lead back to 11.
If he'd had a hot start, I'd half think he might try and throw that thing down. There's another strip, but he was just happy to see the ball in the basket. Here comes Snowball. Great take, and one! He couldn't finish the wide open one earlier in the quarter, but he gets barreled over there, finishes brilliantly through traffic, and he'll go to the line to push this lead back out to 14 points for the first time tonight.
A great take there. Again, you can see his eyes darting all over the floor, just waiting for one of his teammates to present, but open layup and a great call there. He's just finished absolutely getting poleaxed at the rim. Hit that wall hard. Luckily the blue cushions are there.
The teams just tend to sag off, and even when he's in that position in the ring, you've seen him so many times, you take a quick step over, flicks it over to the big, and it's an easy little put back, a little put in, but he sets himself up and finishes the 3-point play. So now still into the zone, I think. Yes, they are. There's Tamata. Now at the top, 3-point basket is a brick, but dang, and one. I thought so. There was a knock on the rebound. He's too athletic. You've got to check him on the boards or he's going to fly over the top, and there was a bit of an arm chop in there as he finished.
It's always a danger on a zone, isn't it? You know, guys running from the perimeter, streaming in, offensive rebound, and for someone that athletic, it's bread and butter. So
just while the teams are going to the timeout, Matty Fennell walking in a straight line, caught Deng on the way through, and as he's done most of the night, Deng just having a few words to the referee and gesturing, saying, what have I done wrong? The ref's just having a few words, but 50-38, what a start. What a second quarter, I should say, for Ringwood. They are out to an absolute flyer, and it's looking to finish in a similar way and a similar scoreline that Game 1 did.
Absolutely, and it's not the offence that we're impressed with, it's the Hawks' ability to lock down McKinnon this second period after 27 apiece. McKinnon have only accumulated 11 points so far in this second period. Still 2 minutes 20 to play, but defence now for the Hawks, the main focus.
Indeed.
Referees now signalling for the teams to return.
But as normal, there's always those couple of extra words that the teams have to get. Now, here's a question for you. A question without notice, Russell. Has a team, if they're still in the huddle, ever actually walked out after the first whistle of a ref calling them from a timeout? Now, there's some teams who go in and they'll take a 20-second timeout and they'll be waiting out for the other side. But when both teams are in the huddle, I don't think a team has ever gone in on the first whistle.
No, that's very fair. Very fair. There's plenty to say in a huddle sometimes, especially if you're the one that's called the timeout. If it's your opposition, you might get out in a timely manner. 12-point deficit now. And
another missed free throw as well. Sorry to interrupt you there, Russell.
Yeah,
you spoke about it earlier.
Interesting that that's been the case for the Hawks. Great block there, but questioned by the Hawks bench. Did it hit the backboard first? Stith spotting up, triple, No go. Stephen Osborne behind the back on the defensive rebound. Kicks it out to Scotty Stone, top of the key. Triple, rimmed out. Tamata now streaming down the floor. Boy, that young man is quick. Tracked well by Osborne, but personal foul as Tamata slips over. Unlucky, but love the effort, making sure that he can't attack the paint like he did in game one.
Too quick for himself there for a second, and that's stiff for Osborne. You got to feel sorry for him there. If Tamata didn't slip over, it would have been excellent defense that ended without a call, but he fell into him. So 4 now. So another foul here for Ringwood, and they'll be in the bonus. It'll be free throws from McKinnon. Another short 3 on that occasion from Jack Wilson. He's Stone. Hands off to Osborne. Wants to go in the low block, decides to shoot it instead, and no, that's a brick off the back rim, and it's a minute 20 to go as both teams have just cooled a little bit. Ringwood especially. Here's Maybank.
Sure, Ken Harrington would be liking to see the Hawks get it through a few more hands than just one 3-point shot after a one-pass offense as Maybank finds that mid-range jumper. 10 points, 50-40, minute to go.
Statistically, in terms of points per possession, the mid-range jumper is probably the least effective shot in the game, but Jermaine Maybank is just knocking it down at will. For now, somebody find that man on the perimeter. Any danger of getting a hand up to Matty for now?
Simple action by the Hawks, that little rotation and screen. But the McKinnon Cougars are just not fighting hard enough to track him on the perimeter when he does pop.
Tamata, great hustle, got it back in the corner, couldn't finish it. Stone with the rebound. Matty Fennell is throwing it into the ocean at the moment. He is just that hot. So expect them to hold for one. There's about a 6-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Shot clock now down to 10 seconds, taking their time. Wilson guarding Snowball. Now stiff. Oh, and that is a tough call. A tough call that has seemingly been plucked out of nowhere, but
interestingly,
so it is.
Trevor Lathan hasn't argued. He's just copped it, gone down the other end. So whether there's justice in there or not.
Michael Salty going to check in. Yes, he will.
He didn't want to come out. But Salty checking in for the final 12 seconds. Will match up against Wilson. Maybank now picks the ball up. Snowball guarding him.
So 10 seconds now.
Wouldn't be surprised here if they let Maybank take it, although...
Dang, and that is a dagger. Oh, I don't know what you want to call that, but he goes bang, bang. And he says, let's go, as Snowy almost buried a triple from half court. Deng, loving his own work more than basically anybody in the stadium, but why wouldn't you when you bury a 3 like that? 53-43. It's the Ringwood Hawks that have the lead. We've got to give credit to Michael Salty, a good mate of ours and a former player that featured with us. Some of the best 12 seconds I've ever seen, but there you have it. We will go on a short break. As I said again, 53-43, Ringwood lead after a half of basketball. We've had an exciting and enticing contest here. We will leave you for a short break and get back with you just before we get back in to the second half. Hello and welcome back to the Rings. Like I was in the first half, I'm joined by Russell Lee. And Russ, it's a 53 to 43 lead for Ringwood. Of course, if they win this game, they are through to the grand final series. And I believe you've got some stats over there for us, Russell.
Sure do. We've talked about him a lot, both from game one and in the first half of this massive game two. Matthew Fennell has played every minute of the first half, and you can understand why. 21.7 of 11 from the field, 5 of 8 from deep, as well as 7 rebounds. Absolutely monstering the game at the moment, and if the Cougars are going to have any hope of competing for a W tonight to send it to a game 3, they are going to have to put the lockdown on Matthew Fennell. Contributing also for the Hawks, we have Sean Clark that's grabbed 5 rebounds to go along with 10 points. Snowy, we talked relentlessly about his outside shooting and the confidence to get that done. He's now got 8 points to go with 3 rebounds and 6 assists. Trev Latham was solid off the bench in the first half in just over 8 minutes, I should say, and 7 points. For the Cougars, Deng Deng, just like game 1, is getting it done. He has 14 points and 9 rebounds, well supported by Maybank, who again is pretty solid so far in game 2, 11 points, 2 rebounds and 3 assists. And Tamada rounds out the high performers for the Cougars, 8 points, 4 rebounds and 3 assists. Interestingly, we do need to watch the foul count for the Cougars. Whitenick with 3, Stiff with 2 and Tamada with 2. The Hawks not as worried around the foul count as the Cougars. Gibson missed a fair chunk of that second period with 2 fouls, and off the bench Nathan Truman and Trevor Latham also with 2 personals, but not worrying the starting lineup of the Hawks.
It's interesting, you've spoken about Matty Fennell and they'll need to lock down on him. You'd think after 33 points, 12 rebounds and 5 assists in game 1, they might just lock down on him in game 2, but anyways, it's maybe they're happy with his output and happy to force him to make plays, but I tell you what, he's making them, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Over in the other game, of course, Hawthorn versus Alpham. Hawthorn hold a 1-0 lead in the series. If they win that, they will play the winner of this series. It's the Magic who lead 22 to 15 after a quarter of play. Kirksey for Hawthorn is up to 8 points. Their starters doing most of the damage, all but 1 point coming from the starters. While over for Alpham, no surprise, as a familiar face, Ben Waldron has 5 points. But we're back here at the Rings And McKinnon will start this second half. Quick move, out of bounds, turnover, Ringwood ball.
Yeah, Stiff trying to go hard at Fennell on that baseline. Likely to try and shut him down on the offensive end, but I like the idea of going at him on the defensive end as well. Waves action here by the Hawks. Fennell taking on Deng. Deng. Pushing foul. Nice argument there with the referee, and no warning for him. Interesting.
Like most players, I don't think he's ever had a foul that he agreed with, but I'm not one to talk on that issue. Great lob pass, and Jacob Gibson finishes, and important for him after resting a fair chunk of the second quarter.
We've seen that a couple of times now from the Hawks inbound, which is a little bit new to their arsenal. Good deflection there by Scotty Stone. Baseline ball for the Cougars. Quick inbound. Plaitnik, Maybank guarded by Snowy. Ooh,
loose handle. Loose handle. Here's Platnik. Loves being down here in the low block. Just uses the momentum and push off. Just quietly, if I was taking anybody in a staring contest, I'd like to nominate to represent me, Deng Deng, because I think after about everything that happens, he is staring at somebody, whether it be in the crowd, the referee, or an opposition player. Gibson says, you've got to respect me a little bit more than that. Just holds the ball aloft, shoots above Tomato and buries two.
That he did. 14 points again, 57-43 in favour of the Hawks. As the Cougars now battling against a man again from the Hawks. Stiff turn around, unable to finish. Almost pulled down the offensive rebound, deflected there by Fennell, picked up by Gibson as the Hawks look to reload.
He has all the athletic qualities to be an out-and-out star, but Dylan Stiff, a great player, no doubt, but just misses a couple of those inside shots that he has to finish. Sean Clark in rhythm, trying to bank one in himself, and Gibson is active on the offensive boards. Here he is for three. He started hot, couldn't keep it going, and it'll be a push out on Sean Clark on the rebound. McKinnon had to come out strong here, and they've started slowly, and he just cannot do that. 1-0 down on the road on a Saturday night in front of a big crowd.
Yeah, very true. Sean Clark unhappy with himself there, acknowledging it was a foul. Those coach killers you talk about, Hickey, don't want to give those away just on a defensive rebound.
Lob pass out to Stiff. Can he do better from the outside? No, he can't. Deng was all over the rebound, but Snowy was too good. Read it well enough. He'll look for the handoff to Gibson. He's been playing well. A little hesitation. Great pass. And it will be McKinnon ball, although Gibson wasn't happy with it. And we saw in game one, he utilises that hesitation. It's not much. It's not a really over-exaggerated move. It's just a little hesitation with the head. A little slow down a pace, but he just burns people with it. But couldn't quite set up Sean Clark on that occasion.
Still going with the man here for the Hawks as Stiff looks to take on Fennell. He's really looking to get himself involved, almost forcing it at Fennell. Personal foul called, but not on Fennell. It's been called on Sean Clark by the looks of it. That will be his third personal foul, unless I'm mistaken. No, it is, as Trevor Latham moves to the score table to check in for Clark. Latham also with 2 fouls, so Ken now will no doubt be considering what his rotations look like moving forward.
It's an interesting one. I think against this lineup and this specific lineup, you could probably, if they both got into trouble, run small ball for a couple of minutes. Matty Fennell can more than hold his weight on the inside. Gibson's long enough to defend in the post. Stone as well. If you bring in somebody like Nathan Truman, who's also got some strength and can defend on the inside, you'd probably be able to play small ball against a lineup like this. Rebounds, of course, would be the worry with the length and athleticism of McKinnon, but I think the Hawks would be able to hold their own if it got to that point.
Look, I tend to agree as Stiff makes both free throws. A positive sign there for the Cougars as they missed way too many in the first half. Trev Latham double teamed in the low post. They're looking to go still to the paint, but deflected, out of bounds, Hawks ball.
So now the ref having some words to Justin Nelson. It was, as I mentioned earlier, you can only have so many warnings, but here's Latham. Now they don't double. Latham couldn't finish. Snowball somehow underneath amongst 2 giants, comes down with the rebound. Trevor Latham, the first occasion, wasn't quite quick enough on the decision making when the double came in and was almost expecting the double On the second time he caught it in the low block, so I was a little bit unsure when he went up, but we saw earlier, if he gets in the low block one out, he's very tough to stop and has great touches. Maybank just throwing down some elbows and some pushes and some shoves. As that is as easy as it gets, like absolute clockwork, a coach's dream, seeing a drawn up inbound play go down that easily.
They were so worried about that 3 ball that Fennell just stepped right around uncontested. Deng, nice looking 3, but it's rimmed out. Okay, look, that's fair. I thought it was McKinnon ball as well.
I thought it was well. It's just a really late reaction.
A very, very late reaction.
McKinnon players had complained and they'd actually run away. So it was just a bit of a weird one. I thought, surely at that point you just go with your call and stick with it. But he says, that was my bad. It's a little inside-out dribble, steps 3, not quite from Deng. So he's looking to get going. Platnick normally buries those. Stiff, aggressive. Latham looking to get in on the rebound. It's an absolute tug of war. It's a jump ball. And it will be a Ringwood ball.
I don't mind that call, actually. You know, when you see something, reaction time for that to be processed by your brain and for you to make a decision, you know, sometimes that little extra second for you to actually consider what you've just seen, I don't mind that by the referee.
No doubt, and it takes a confident referee but to acknowledge their own mistake, but a good call if it gets the right result of the game.
Absolutely. No, I really, really rate that from the official. 59-45 in favour of the Hawks. Timeout to the Cougars. Justin Nelson now rallying his troops.
And not quite sure, assistant coach Rob Roberts, after his team just got a couple of calls in a row and the referee acknowledged his mistake and gave McKinnon back the ball. Rob Roberts, his team's all in the huddle and he's turning around and staring at the referees and shaking his head, and I don't know quite what he's got to complain about just in that little couple of minutes. But anyways, we'll move along.
That we will.
Just those can't say the word, intricacies of the game. Always just quite insightful into a player and coach's psyche. Always quite interesting. 6:46 to play in the third quarter. 59-45. It's a Ringwood lead. McKinnon just called a timeout, looking to settle and slowly peg this game back. They can't get it all back at once. They have to get on the grind.
That is true. And a quick check-in of the other semi-final series currently being played at Eltham as they host game 2 against the Magic. But Magic still holding a 7-point lead, 28-21 with 4:14 to go in the second period. So at this time, it is the Magic that will find themselves in a grand final, but still plenty of basketball to play as the Hawks now inbound. Snowball left wide open, kicked it back to Fennell for a wide open triple, but off the front of the rim. Maybank with the defensive rebound, pushing the ball hard up the floor, going at Snowball, finds Platnick in that low post, one-on-one against Fennell. Great spin move and good finish at the rim.
Really smart move, and McKinnon bailed out down one end, giving up the open 3, and it's a little 5-point swing. Now Snowball kicks back over to Fennell, and again he had a step, and I don't know what they were doing. And that will be a turnover, and Deng just flexing on them off not the biggest of plays, but anyways, each to their own.
Yeah, step out of bounds. Ken not too happy with the lack of ball movement there by the Hawks. It's very, very stagnant at one end. Don't want to protect the lead at this point of the game. You want to keep pushing offensively and keep shutting down defensively. Deflected off a Scotty Stone leg as Deng tried to post him up. Maybank now, Snowball guarding on the perimeter. Little shimmy, elevates, nothing. Offensive rebound, Platnick.
Two good mates there, Snowy and Platnick. Good to see that they can have a laugh and a smile during the game.
They've had plenty of battles over the year. As you mentioned earlier, Platnick playing for Waverley. And yeah, some absolutely epic battles with Sedale Threat running the point position for Waverley for a number of years, with Platnick in that 4 spot.
Maybank wants it in the low block. He was hooking Snowy. Should be an interesting battle. Maybank will like it if he can get a score, but he tripped over. Tamata, could have been a foul. Then he smacks into Snowball, and it's a charge. And what a way to get the McKinnon bench upset and annoyed. They wanted the earlier call, and then a charge is given away. The second call was the right call. Yeah, came barreling into Snowy, who got good position.
Yeah, the bench, as you mentioned, Hickey, not happy with that at all. Justin Nelson talking to the official at the other end. Floor sweepers getting a chance to shine now.
Is that a pun there? You've gone with the shine, like the floor being shiny.
Look, I wish I could say that was intentional, but
you're just that good, Russell.
I'm that hilarious.
Just that good.
Absolutely. I learned from the best Hickeys. Isolating here now, Gibson guarded by Tamata. Good footwork there, double team. Cross the floor pass, Maybank picks it off.
Tough to throw cross-court passes against a side that's athletic and long like McKinnon. Dang wants to go against Truman. A little elbow thrown in there. He's Platnick. Can he get going and wind back the clock and get McKinnon back into this game? Goes to hook himself around and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
It's an interesting talent that Platnick has, his ability to fall away from the rim and still get high percentage looks.
For so long he has put up big numbers and just played so well in this league.
He misses the first.
The way he goes about it doesn't necessarily look like he's going to be the star player he is, but it's all part of the package that is Ivan Platnick.
Very well said. Sometimes players just have a particular asset in their game that just looks a little bit strange. It may not be favoured as Fennell.
High off the backboard, just kissing it off the glass.
Turns that corner well and no help defence.
And I've said it a 1,000 times, but I'll say it again, very few can finish better around the rim in traffic, using the backboard, using reverse layups than Matty Fennell as Dang buries one. And as has become a little bit customary in this game, points and talks and stares at someone. I think it was the referee who enjoyed that one on that occasion. Fennell again going to the left, surely not this time. He cannot be stopped. This time he tucks in on the right hand, draws the foul, and this guy is flat out on fire.
I think ridiculous, spectacular. These words just don't do what his skill set and the game that he's having justice. That now pushes his game tally to 27 points, 10 of 15 from the field.
And
let's make that
a free throw.
28 points.
And we've still got a quarter and 4 minutes to play. Matty Fennell is just on another level at the moment.
Stiff not game enough to pull the trigger from deep as he has done previously.
That is a tough shot.
Very much so. Turning mid-air, trying to get it over Latham and Fennell to no avail. Truman now controlling play. Again guarded by Deng. An interesting matchup. Long hands by Deng. Probably got it.
There's a technical, no surprises. And he goes at the ref again, and it could have almost been a second with the aggressive nature. Deng, he's been pushing the line all game. Sorry to interrupt you there, Russell, but it was just coming. And look at the stare he's giving the referee. I tell you what, some other officials might just send him out right now.
Interesting. Very, very interesting call. I thought he got the ball cleanly. Probably fair to be upset, as plenty of players do become that way when a call just doesn't go their way. But his reaction definitely warranted a tech foul, unfortunately, on that occasion.
Indeed, it was a stiff call. It probably he's long enough to get that ball and for it to be clean. So,
absolutely.
A potentially stiff call, but just silly, and a bit of a immaturity thing almost on that occasion from Deng. He's been so good and he plays on the line, but he's just got to be smarter than that when it comes to because his team needs him out there. He's just that good. He's been McKinnon's probably best player on the court for across game 1 and 2. And they need him out there. They cannot risk him being sent out of this game.
Costly there because that puts him in the bonus. So the fifth foul plus a technical, and Truman goes 3 of 3 from the line.
And it's a thing to point out. We saw Snowy also early, and clearly not pleased with the referees, but he's been around the league long enough to know where the line is and when to just have a step back and stop. And in rhythm, speaking of the man, that was a brick, but Gibson was fouled heavily, and nothing McKinnon could complain about that one. He'll go to the line to shoot 2. And Jacob Gibson not necessarily finding a lot of shots and a lot of attack in the offense, but he's making his own baskets, attacking the glass, and he's a long and a lot more athletic than you think at first glance.
Absolutely. You know, he's had a quieter game compared to what he would normally be able to contribute at this level, but those fouls that he had early in the piece have limited his minutes. He's currently got 7 points. Missed the first, and now looking to nail the second.
And he does. This game out to 19 points, would you believe? As in comes Laycock, outsteps Tamata. Justin Nelson clearly confident enough in Deng Deng to leave him out there, despite emotions running high. And Deng Deng will want to go to work here. He's got Nathan Truman on him, but decides to pass it off. Stith, good ball movement here as Snowball gets knocked over, gets back up. He's clutching his left arm. Here's Maybank. Good help defense, but a good finish from good finish from Maybank. Latham was on defense, and Snowy could be in a little bit of strife with that left hand. I think he was clutching his arm or his wrist. Took a bit of a fall, but it doesn't matter because he can just do it all with his right. Great baseline cut from Jacob Gibson and a great find.
It's just passing skills are at another level. We said Jacob Gibson's had a quiet game, but won't take him long to get going. They're happy to go under that little pick and roll or screen situation for Maybank and let him keep firing.
Surely not.
He was bound to miss one eventually, Hickey, as Fennell looks to take the ball at the paint again. Scoop shot just remotely in the vicinity, but will earn himself another couple of shots to push out his personal tally to potentially 30 points for the second consecutive game.
Tamir and Wilson in. Stith takes a break. And Snowy down there, and just you having a sip of water down on the Hawks side of the bench, but didn't use his left hand at all. I think he's a little bit worried. It's an elbow into his left arm, so just something to keep an eye on. He looks like he's going to stay out there, but just in a little bit of discomfort.
Fennell makes the first, lead now at 20, 71-51 in favour of the Hawks, and nails the second. So Fennell now 30 points, still with 12 minutes 41 left to play in this game, but he checks out. Well-earned rest, and the first time he's checked out tonight, Hickey.
Very well deserved. But I tell you what, if he made that left-hand scoop layup we saw on the previous possession, I think we could have just gone home at that point, because I don't think there was no beating Ringwood if he's starting to do that kind of thing. Completely
agree. Great defence there by Trevor Latham in the low post, and look at him run the floor. Absolutely textbook that you would love your big men to do. Great defence, you know, ensured his team had that defensive rebound and busted up the floor.
Basket to basket running that split line.
Fundamental big man stuff. Absolutely love it. Great job, Trevor.
This game is out to 23 points. Slowly but surely, and Snowy has a knock to the arm, but he's turned him on another level. Surely not. Somehow Latham, no, couldn't quite reach it. Jack Wilson was good enough to stop it. Ding, ding, hesitation. And that could be a charge, and is. And, oh, that was worrying, and that's him out of the game. Oh, and he's getting in the face of the referee and ejected. Trevor Latham, an opposition player, has to pull him away, and that is an ugly, ugly, ugly look. You cannot be doing that to an official. That is terrible. A terrible look. He's such a good player, and it's such a shame when you see guys who are that good let themselves down by doing things like that. Ding, ding. Just silly. Silly. Of course, emotions running high, of course. Justin Nelson, there's nothing you can complain about here because the foul was called, offensive foul. Whether it was an offensive foul or not part of the question. Ding, ding gets up aggressively going at the ref, slows down, has a few words. Ref gives him the second technical. That's an injection. And then, in a real, just bizarre, so you don't see it happen at all. Ding, ding, getting in the face of the referee, standing up and over the top of him. Mayback can't complain because Ding, ding is that kind of thing. If he does anything, lays a hand on the referee, that's weeks. He's out of the game. That's terrible. And when a guy like that has an MDL contract lined up, a massive step in his career, he just cannot be doing silly things that could potentially hurt you down the future like that.
Absolutely. I mean, whether it be a tough call or not, Snowy's drawn that charge. That was his fourth personal, irrespective of you know, the ejection. That tech fouls his fifth. He's out of the game no matter what. and he's got himself now disqualified. So I believe now we'll have free throws to come for the Hawks, plus the possession, although it was their ball anyway, but progressed up the floor. 1:49 to go, 74-51 in favour of the Hawks, 23-point lead. This is now about pride and digging deep for the Cougars to lose a player of the calibre that Deng is, the scoring machine, the rebounding machine, the shot-blocking defensive machine that he is. They're going to really, really struggle now.
Indeed, you cannot step up at a ref like you're about to throw hands. That is just a thing that you hate to see, especially with so many young kids here watching. A guy that can seriously play the game and is set to play on the highest level this season, and he's doing things like that. That's just ugly to look at. And to be honest, it's interesting as we see Truman at the free throw line couldn't bury the second. McKinnon, his teammates, also have to be aware that this guy's on edge. He gets up, complains about it, pull him away. It took Trevor Latham, an opposition player, to pull him away, and whether also Justin Nelson should have taken him out of the game just to let him cool off a little bit. But as we see, Truman misses, but Latham, good offensive rebound, and there's a foul, and he'll go to the line to shoot two, you'd think. Yes, he will. You've just got to be more aware than that and be switched on. As we see, there was a couple of the younger and development champ men McKinnon players went down and just followed Deng Deng into the locker room to make sure that he's not going to do anything too silly as he's sent out of this game. But the crowd just a little taken aback by that, because you just do not see someone, a player, step at a referee at this level.
Very true. Trevor Latham at the line now for two. He makes the first. 24-point deficit, 1:42 to go in this third period. Bit of a quiet calm now in the gym.
Sucked the life out of it. I think everyone's a little bit, as I am, and
a little bit
taken back by what just happened. Anyways, back to this game. A minute and a half left in the third quarter. It is a 24-point margin, and it has the looks that this one's going to fizzle out, as that's a loose ball, and Latham.
Interestingly for the Cougars, I've just noticed there is not a starter on the floor for them.
Potentially already the cue in the rack with a quarter and a minute to play, but who knows? He's Laycock. He can play, this kid. Latham, good defence, and there's the shove off and another offensive foul. And I tell you what, Justin Nelson can't believe it, but the forearm extension was there. It happens like this. A couple of calls potentially don't go your way. And I can just... the foul's on Tom Parkinson, and he cannot be on 5 personal fouls because he's played about 2 minutes of basketball. And no. The bench says no. He's allowed to stay out there. I thought, Tom Parkinson, I think he's been on for under 5 minutes. I thought that is the quickest 5 fouls you've just about ever seen. And he'll stay out on the floor, and just a bright smile coming on his face. It's just all falling to pieces for McKinnon. But Ringwood have been too good.
That they have. Double high post action here. Osborne coming off. Taking the paint with a wayward pass as Muller picks it off.
There's a foul, and it's just a silly foul. Sorry, not silly foul, but you got what Muller was trying to do. He's trying to draw the foul, go and one, but he slowed down so much. He could have just finished the easy two, take the points. You're down by 24 points. You just need to get some points on the board. But he decided to look for the three-point play, but now instead he's go for maybe having two instead of having a gimme two, because I don't think Stone was going to get up there and block him up at the rim.
No, true. Muller at the line, knocks down the first. Just under a minute here to play in the third period. And makes the second. A nice change for McKinnon, knocking down a couple of free throw after a number rimmed out across that first half.
So just a couple of silly turnovers. Sorry there, Russell, from Ringwood. They'll be just looking to settle this game back down here. Don't need to force it. Just relax, get a good look. And there it was, but he couldn't quite finish, so Latham cooled off a little bit from that first half.
I think even in the play, we talked about everyone in the gym, but even the play has just been you know, the life has been sucked out of it a little bit here. You know, people still in a little bit of shock as to what's gone on. Don't expect Ringwood or McKinnon take their foot off the pedal in relation to the gameplay here. 3 seconds left on the shot clock for McKinnon, deflected out of bounds by the Hawks. They're going to have to get a quick shot here. Nice screen away action. Laycock.
Flat as attack. I think it copped a little bit of hand. That'll be shot clock violation. It should be. And it will be.
Gibson with a bit of emotion against...
Jeez, I tell you what, Jacob Gibson showing some strength that you don't necessarily see it in first glance, but he's just taken on the big barrel-chested Jack Wilson and held his own. Pretty impressive from the American import.
He's done well. Now he's handling the ball.
You do see him down at Ringwood Genesis, the sponsor of the Ringwood Hawks, lifting some heavy weights.
That he does, and they found him on the perimeter. Ooh! Just rims out.
I apologise, Russell. You were calling the last play, and I've come over with some absolute trash that I've spoken to you, but...
absolutely fine, Hickey. You know, I'm just humbled to be in the presence of such a commentator, so interrupt whenever you like. The Hawks lead this one. 1 period to go. 75-53. 22-point deficit. For those that have just joined us, if that's the case, Deng Deng has been ejected after Snowball took a charge baseline just minutes ago, with Deng shirt fronting the referee, being teched and then ejected.
Almost shirt fronting. He didn't. No contact was made, but it was the
fair call.
He definitely stepped up to him like there was going to be some sort of physical altercation.
Has surprised both benches and the crowd here,
and us. I'm still
absolutely
taken back by that. You just do not see someone step up to a referee like that.
Yeah, very, very interesting turn of events. I think the officials have handled themselves very well in this adversity, but McKinnon have got a lot of work to do if they would like to contend to get themselves back in this game. He's been a hot topic. Matthew Fennell, 27 minutes of gameplay. He has 30 points, shooting at 67% from the field. He has 10 rebounds to go with that, a massive double-double, and it looks like he is checking back into the game to start the fourth period.
A quick check of the other game that's going on, and Hawthorn, if they can keep going this rate, they will be the team that meets Ringwood in the grand final series. Should Ringwood hold on, we think they will. Half-time in that game, they lead the Alpha Wildcats 30-40. Leading the way there, McBurdy with 8 points, 9 to Kirksey just as the game starts here, and arguably the greatest name in the Big V, Ilarion Bonholm II has 8 points for Eltham, as we see. A quick 2 there for McKinnon. Stone misses and clunks one up against the backboard.
McKinnon pushing the ball hard. Laycock from the perimeter, unable to connect on the three. Benji Kinnear, good mid-range jumper before, good offensive rebound, but unable to finish over Sean Clark. Now giving Clarkey hell, but just too big and too strong.
That was almost reminiscent of when a little kid goes at their older brother, and the older brother just puts the hand on the forehead as they're swinging wildly underneath. It had shades of that.
Definitely did. Personal foul by McKinnon here. Hawks will now inbound. Fennell guarded by Muller, top of the key. Fennell behind the back, lost control. The help defence came, and that's what I'd be expecting McKinnon to do. All game, let alone just in this fourth period.
Good extra pass.
Impact. Nice reverse layup there by Muller, fouled by Gibson.
Good play from Tamir. He was in mid-air, he was going up for the jump shot. He was just about to travel and quickly flicked the ball over, and it's a timeout. This time to Ken Harrington.
Deficit now at 18. Interesting.
It was the start McKinnon needed if they were going to come back. You'd think if they're going to run with this bench squad that Ringwood will be too good and will hold on. But no doubt Kenny will be saying, push that lead out and let me rest you guys before we enter the grand final series, because they do not want to risk anything, whether it be getting involved in anything physical or an injury of any sort. So he'll be saying to his guys, play hard for the next couple of minutes, then let me get you out, let me get some of these bench guys in to finish off this game.
Yeah, great. Completely there. You did not want the fourth period of a blowout to result in guys potentially missing due to injury or soreness. So 9 minutes to go, deficit back at 18. Muller now at the line for a bonus and one situation. I'd expect after that little reality check by Ken in that timeout, the Hawks will change it up, refocus, and we will see the bench emptied over the next few minutes.
Free throw is good from Muller on that occasion. So we've got 9 minutes to play. It's a 17-point ball game, 75-58. And as we've said, a little bit of the energy sucked out of this arena after the dang altercation, as we see Gibson with the ball, down low to Clark. Double team comes, quick decision, hard take, couldn't get it to go. He's a man mountain out there, just too big, too strong, and too good, Sean Clark.
That he is. McKinnon looking to reload quickly, pushing the ball hard, really looking to get through hands and sets now, which is a little bit different to what we saw from their starters. Muller, stolen by Scotty Stone.
So a grand final is beckoning here for Ringwood. They shouldn't need a game 3 if they can hold on to this 19-point margin with 8 minutes to play. Scotty Stone wide open and just caught a little bit off balance there with the catch and being that wide open and trying to get it up nice and quickly.
Stabbed at it rather than shooting it, which is unusual for him. I don't think he'll be too happy with his efforts there.
And one, the foul called. Sean Clark not in great spirits there, thinking he was a little bit hard done by, but it'll be a sub and you think he'll come off as he is in a little bit of foul trouble. Ken Harrington wanting just to keep him fresh in case McKinnon come back, as we see their starters looking to check back in. Of course, it'll only be 4 of them, as we've mentioned many times here. Deng back in the locker room, thrown out of this game.
3-point play. Lead at 16. And you mentioned it, Hickey. Justin Nelson emptying his bench to bring his 4 starters into the game, along with Muller, who's put in some good minutes to begin, not only end the 3rd period, but begin this 4th period. Extended 4 pressure.
It's a bit of a, I think it's a 1-2-1-1 trap, but it's not really a false trap, we might call it. Interesting from Nelson, your bench guys have just given you some great minutes, given you a little bit of a sniff here in the last quarter, and you take them out. You better hope that the starters dish up some good play here as Gibson blocked, gives it out to Snowball. Geez, the crowd loved that, missed. Tomato away on the break now. He's using his space. Fennell guarding him. Tough right-hand finish, and he got everything but air. About to say nothing but net, but it was nowhere near the basket at all.
No, that's very, very true. Fennell did a good job defensively coming across to help. Oh, blocked by Maybank on the triple.
Oh,
Fennell deflect the over the head pass that was going to be a guaranteed 2, I would have thought, by Maybank. Bounced it off his face or his head and got it right back.
Well, they finally got out to Fennell on a 3, got the block, but then they turned it over straight away back the other way.
Still sagging right off Snowy, stiff guarding that. Latham kicked it back out to Snow. Snow, wide open triple. Nails this one.
And that, you'd think, is just about good night. We thought it was at 3/4 time. McKinnon came out strong in the first couple of minutes, but 19 points. Matty Snowball knocking down a 3. As we see Stiff looking to go to work. And as you mentioned, he makes the shot, but you go from the bench, moving the ball, getting that real classic, attractive style of basketball, and then they're back to the starters and they just play one out. And it was a good shot, but something that isn't going to be efficient unless you've got some lights out plays, which they do, but across a long period of time, the Hawks have showed that sharing the ball has been very handy for them. They lead by 17.
Deflected by Muller out of bounds as he denied Fennell on that low post cut. Scotty Stone taking a break as Truman checks back in. 17-point game in favour of the Hawks. 8 on the shot clock. Same inbound play, although this time to Gibson, and nothing but net. Seen that countless times this year by the Hawks.
It's been a relatively quiet game from Gibson and Stone, as that's a firm foul. Latham actually probably making a good argument. You see this a bit in the NBA. I think a guy who's fallen off the radar a little bit, Timofey Mozgov, was always very good at it in his time with Cleveland. it's jumping straight up as a defender in your cylinder, which is allowed. So if a player's coming into you, you're allowed to contest if you are jumping straight up and down in your cylinder. And that's what Latham was arguing there, but he's called for the foul. As we see, Sean Clark not too pleased with the coaching staff on the bench. I don't think he wanted to check out earlier as the free throws made by Muller.
Yeah, fair call. I think Trevor has an argument there, but nice three-point play by Muller. He's put some great minutes in here. Go back at Latham in the low post. Oh, very nice spin move, unable to finish. Pulls down the rebound, but unable to control it. McKinnon ball. 5:49. Look to reload again. Just, we might have called it a little bit earlier. Just a slight worry in the air. There's still plenty of game time to pile some points on.
That's a stiff no call. That sounded like a lot of risk, but they gave Truman the benefit of the doubt.
Maybe payback for the Latham call.
Tamata severely undersized there, and that was probably a hand in as well, so that one might have levelled it out. Quick flick off, not quite. Somehow he always ends up with the ball. Now off to Latham, that's got to be a foul, and one. And just when McKinnon looked like they're going to go back and threaten Ringwood, make a key basket and push that lead back out.
Still very quiet in this place. Don't think we really expected the deficit to be this way at this point in the game. 18 points, Trevor Latham at the line, 5:21 remaining in this final term. He nails, back to 19. At what point, Hickey, does Ken empty the bench?
It's an interesting one because, of course, you want to make sure of the result. You've got guys wanting to get their minutes out there, all that kind of thing. If it was me, at the 4-minute mark, I'm going to the bench.
Yep, I tend to agree. And he's still got some guys that will be able to hold their own, there's absolutely no doubt. We talked about the depth of Ringwood's bench. We completely trust them to come into the game and finish strongly.
If there was any sign that they wanted to hold the ball up, Gibson just had a wide open three. It was a little bit deep, but a wide open three, and could have easily just buried it and pulled up, and it's a jump ball. Gibson couldn't believe it. It's 19-point margin, but it still clearly means a lot to these guys.
Yeah, it's about that respect, regaining what was lost maybe by the crowd, given the performance earlier. Great pull-up jump shot over Truman there by Maybank.
And we should mention, as we tick down now at 4.5 minutes as this game looks to be over, Jermaine Maybank, this is the last game. He's announced his retirement. If they do go on to lose, which it looks like they will, he has decided that he is going to stop playing, and instead, as we see Snowball miss, instead we'll head into the coaching ranks. But it's been an illustrious career, and he's finished on a high personally, individually. Not quite as a team, but he's been pretty impressive in game 1 and 2, giving his everything. As we see the three, he couldn't go. And rebound was the term from Kenny Harrington. But Jermaine Maybank, a special player and a BigV star and a little bit of a stalwart.
Absolutely no doubt. Justin Nelson with the timeout. 4:05 to go, 85-68 in favour of the Hawks. 17-point deficit at this time. Checking in to the game crosstown, and the Magic have been able to extend their lead with just over 4 minutes remaining in the third period. 58-43, 15 points in favour of the Magic. So at this time, provided the Hawks prevail, which all signs point to yes, it is the Hawthorn Magic who will be joining them in the grand final. Nelson
Kirksey, very good in that game. He's got 14, 2 and 6 assists. So an impressive start for him. Jordan Latham up to 12, and Jack Barry up to 10. So 3 Hawthorn players, 3 starters performing well there. And over on the other side, Ben Waldron, he's been around for a little bit. He's up to 11 points for the Wildcats.
While we're just waiting for the teams to retake the court for this end to the game, let's have some shout-outs. Scotty Stone's family, Jacob Gibson's family, all the way in the United States. Hope you're watching and enjoying the action here. A shout-out to all of our past imports. You know who you are. We mention you all the time, the greats that have graced our club. Special mention to Mark, Michelle Sutton. I hope you're watching all the way from the UK. We look forward to seeing you back end of the year to celebrate another grand final series, I have no doubt.
Very well put from you there, Russells. We see McKinnon now with the ball. Platnick looking to get some baskets here. Lovely right-hand finish. But you think it's just pedestrian at the moment. Surely Kenny Harrington goes to the bench, Kenny. If there was ever a time, 15 points, 3:40 left in the game. So we see now Gibson, the three. He's been looking for that all night. He gets it. Fairly subdued celebration, but back out to 18, 3.5 left in this game. Maybank will look to go one out now against Truman. He likes this matchup. Spins one way, back the other. Hesitation, back one way. Put himself into the spin cycle a little bit. Couldn't finish the mid-range jumper.
Snowball now pushed up the floor by Maybank. Knocked it away, but the referee has called a personal foul. Could be a little bit stiff there.
Tough call when the umpire's a little bit blindsided, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. They've been good all night, the officials, in what's been tense and tough conditions.
Very true. McKinnon pushing hard up on the perimeter, guarding the Hawks. They're looking to go at Gibson. Tamata trailing him hard. Trev Latham low post against Platnick. Good defence there by Platnick.
Justin Nelson with a bit of soccer skills.
7 seconds left on the clock for the Hawks sideline inbound.
Just talking about the shot clock, I think, and no, they're all right. 7 on the shot clock. So 7, it'll be inbound play here for Ringwood. Little hesitation. Latham gets double teamed quickly off his foot, and he's had a tough second half, but he's kept on trooping through. Credit to him.
Double team came again,
as it has for most of the game on the low block. Oh, just unnecessary hit there from Stith. Double team comes from Latham this time, and he wanted the same call but couldn't get it.
At least he's got a smile on his face.
That's an interesting play there. A great shot from Stith, no doubt about that, buries the three. Would you think that that jump catch is a travel? Because it just looks bad.
It does, and it's exaggerated for a big man. But no, completely legal. Nice handoff there by, or so I should say, bounce pass to Trev Latham, but unable to connect from Snowball's dime. Oh, okay, interesting. Maybank, nice scoop pass there to Platnick. 13 points. The Cougars have done a good job. Really good job. 4th personal foul.
4th team foul, so they're 1 away from the bonus. Back to that, that travel comment. It's one of those ones where if you, 5 fouls, so Platnick's out of the game.
My mistake there.
A great season for Platnick, if it is to finish there here for McKinnon. A veteran of the league and continues to dish out impressive output. It's one of those ones, if they have the ball before the jump,
the coaching
then
staff,
it would be a trouble.
Rob Roberts, sorry to interrupt you, Hickey, and Justin Nelson having a very long discussion about who they bring in. Very long discussion. Interesting.
Well, I think technically by the rules you're allowed a minute. Is it, or something along those lines?
I'd have to double check, to be honest, but referees completely okay with what they were doing.
From the days where my old man used to coach me, he used to try and just take some time out of the game if there was somebody on 5, and he used to say to the refs, you get a minute. So I'm taking it off him. Who knows, he might have just been talking absolute rubbish, but I'll trust him as we see for now. Off the dribble, would have brought the house down. 13 points, so just for a second now, Laycock gets it back, little jumper, couldn't get it to go, probably an over the back foul for now with the rebound. No surprises who's strong enough to come away with the ball. Gets hit, it'll be Laycock for 2, back to 11 points with a minute 20. Up court pressure comes, it'll be a double, they foul, and now it'll be Snowy to the line to shoot 2. I think potentially a little bit of a make-up call for the earlier one.
Possible, and the Hawks have struggled a little bit with full court pressure. Not only in this game, last game, and in previous games that I've been preview or even lucky enough to call. something that they'll no doubt talk about after the game and over the next week to ensure that their grand final counterpart cannot take advantage as other teams seem to have.
And on that note, it looks like Hawthorn will be the team that gets through. They lead by 13. 28 seconds left in the third period over at Eltham High School. Maybank this way, that way, and the pass again was there. He's had that a couple times where the playmaking's been almost finding guys along the baseline, but just cannot quite make that pass and cannot quite execute. So Ringwood more than happy just to play this game out. I think Carrington will be a little bit frustrated as we see a hands-on foul, and it'll be Fennell, who, to be honest, it wouldn't have surprised me if he made that shot.
That's very true.
The night he's had. But I think Carrington will be a little bit frustrated that his team hasn't been able to hold on to that, 17 to 20 point lead where he'd be able to bring the bench on, but still 59 seconds left and he still is not going to the bench.
Fennell's first score of this fourth period, 31 points now.
Impressive when you can have 31 points and you've only scored 1 point in the fourth quarter. It's not a bad stat as he misses the second. 13-point game now, inside a minute. Stith pushes off, couldn't get it to go for now with another rebound. He's a stat sheet stuffer. Gibson using his pace against Tamata. Tamata's been a bit quiet here in this second half and a bit quiet compared to his efforts in game one. So Gibson takes it hard, little no-looker, couldn't get it to go, but it's somehow taken a bit of spin over the top of the rim. Looked like he was going to fall short by a long way, but he somehow managed to bury that. Don't quite know how. Maybank, probably might have extended for a dunk there, but not quite, as we see some players looking to, some fans starting to head to the doors, and would you believe it? The Guns staying out on the floor for Ringwood, but they have done it. They have won another semi-final, and now we'll look to go for the third championship in a row, would you believe it? And a touching moment here for Jermaine Maybank, who kneels down on the middle of the floor, as that is the end to his career here. He's moving on to coaching, the end of his playing career. Jermaine Maybank just took a moment to himself in centre court in what was quite a touching moment for fans, not only of McKinnon but across the league. Not quite the ending he was hoping for, but he's had a good couple of games and plenty of respect shown to him by the Ringwood players and coaches. It is the Hawks, 92 to 79. They come away victors. They win the semi-final series 2-0. And the game lost some serious energy when Deng Deng was thrown out after stepping up at the referee. He now will go to the Sydney Kings as he's played a couple of pre-season games, and no doubt just be thinking about that as he makes his way north up to New South Wales about just how this season ended. But McKinnon, credit to them, an excellent season. Ringwood far too good on the night. Russell, how did you say it?
Look, yeah, very well put, Hickey. We talked about it before the game. Who was it that needed to stand up for the Hawks to win, and who was it that needed to stand up for the Cougars to win? As Hickey shows me text messages that make me smile. The McKinnon Cougars, while they did a good job in the fourth period, it was Matthew Fennell that they were unable to shut down. Still contributing positively, obviously, with the depth of Ringwood, with a number of players standing up to do what they needed to get over the line. The foul trouble and I suppose emotion in the game just didn't play out for McKinnon as the way they might have hoped. They did a great job. They earned some serious respect in that final period effort. They've done an incredible job for it to only be a 13-point game on the final siren, 92-79 in favour of the Hawks.
We'll quickly look through some stats and give you a wrap of those numbers. It was the second and third quarters that did it for the Hawks. They actually lost the final quarter 17-26, but still ran away 13-point victors. As you mentioned, Matty Fennell, unbelievable, 31 points, 13 rebounds. He was exceptional. Matthew Snowball 7 rebounds, 13 assists. No surprise, he led the league in assists this season, and 12 points despite having a tough shooting night. So he was just 3 rebounds short of a triple-double. Sean Clark with 12, Jacob Gibson 17. Scotty Stone, a quiet 2-point game, only took the 5 shots, so you know when Ringwood can win with Scotty Stone only taking 5 shots and only scoring 2 points, that they've had a good night. Trevor Latham, 13 off the bench in 23 minutes. He was very good. Over for McKinnon, it was that man we mentioned earlier, Jermaine Maybank. He had 17. He was very solid. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals to him. Deng Deng, before getting thrown out of the game, 16 points on 7 of 12 shooting. He was very solid, 9 rebounds as well. Platney, the 10, Dylan Stith, 11, and Muller off the bench, 10 points in 12 minutes. As we've mentioned a few times, we're fans of him up here in the commentary box. There you have it. An impressive win. We'll quickly give you a score check and update over between the Magic and the Wildcats. They're just about to start the 4th quarter. It is the Hawthorn Magic who are now just 1 quarter away from booking their place in the grand final series to meet Ringwood. They are up 63 to 54. The Wildcats, for them, it's Ben Waldron, 13 points, and my man Ilarion Bonholm the second with 16, 6 of 8 shooting. And for Hawthorn, it's been the trio of Barry, Latham and Kirksey, 12, 12 and 14 points respectively. Kirksey with the 7 assists. Any parting words for us here, Russell?
Yeah, I think it was just, you mentioned before, Maybank playing his final game here in the Big V. Huge congratulations to him, but I think we need to extend that. Great season by Justin Nelson, Rob Roberts and the McKinnon Cougars. Despite their final record for the season, they've done a great job to make the Final 4 and really take it to the Hawks. And of course, the home team, where we play, where we love. Congratulations to Ken, to Damien, to Willie and all of the Hawks guys on their 3rd grand final appearance in as many years. And as we sit across from the banner display here at the Rings, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2016, 2017, can they add a 2018 3rd consecutive grand final? But let's count them up: 2, 4, 5, 6th in the last number of years.
For a maths teacher, I thought you'd be a little bit quicker than that, to be honest, Russell.
I've just realised that 2013 was a runners-up too, so we're 5 in 6 years. Let's go with that. 5 in 7 years. Great job. Let's not advertise the fact that I sometimes teach math.
So there you have it. An exciting game and a great finish. Ringwood come out winners. They booked themselves a spot in the grand final series, 92 to 79. Incredible scenes. Credit to McKinnon, a great season. Credit to Jermaine Maybank, an excellent career. But it was the Ringwood Hawks sweeping 2-zip the McKinnon Cougars. They progressed to the grand final series. We can't wait for that. Thank you for being with us and joining us here tonight. We hope you have an excellent rest of the weekend, and can't wait for that grand final.
Absolutely. See you later.
Good night.